Hi everyone, I'm Lovett. In this video, we are going to be looking at ListView, which is one of the widgets on Android that you can use to display a list of information. By the end of this video, we are going to be displaying a list of 5 programming languages and a fun fact about them. So this is going to be our expected output. When you click on each item, it takes you to the detail view where the fun fact is going to be displayed with the name of the programming language as the title. So let's get started. So we're going to be creating a new project. You click on create new project, select empty activity, go to next, enter the name of your application. So we are going to be calling this fun fact. We're going to be using the Kotlin programming language, and let's just leave our minimum SDK at 5.0. Then we can click on finish. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is to add view binding to our Gradle. View binding is it helps us to reference an ID from the layout to its activity. So to enable view binding, then you click on sync. Whenever you edit your build.gradle, you have to sync to make changes. Okay, so next we are going to be creating our data model. This data model is a sample of the kind of data we want to display on our list. New Kotlin class file, data class, we name it fact model. So we are going to be having 3 items, which are name. The name is going to be a string. Then the logo of the programming language, that will be an integer. because all drawables are integers. Next is going to be the detail, which is the fun fact about that programming language. So next we are going to be setting up our data, our dummy data. We are going to call it a dummy data because it's just data that doesn't change. So we're going to be creating an object type. We're going to call it dummy data. We're going to be creating a list of facts. In here, we are going to be putting those informations we're going to display on our list view. So I'll just copy and paste the data here. Next, we have to, as you can see, these images are red because we have not added them to our drawables. So I will just I'll just add them to our drawables right now. So I'm going to be copying and pasting all the images here. Okay, so I have to rename them to match what we have already. Okay, but then our Java logo is an SVG, and to import SVG into your Android Studio, you right click on drawable, new, vector assets, you click on local file, then you select this and find the folder where the image is. Then you select the image, click OK, and rename it to whatever you want to, and then click on next, then finish. So now the errors are gone. We have all our image. So next, we're going to be adding a list view to our activity main layout. We're going to be removing this text since we are no longer using a text view but a list view. So we're going to give it an ID. This ID is what you are going to use in referencing it from the activity. So let's call it fact LV, which means fact list view. Okay, let's just write it in full. Okay, Next, we are going to be creating our custom, we are going to be creating our adapter. What exactly is an adapter? An adapter is a class built out to make the setup of a ListView easier. With an adapter, it's easier for you to set up a list of an item. You create just one layout, and this adapter helps you to always render this view for each item that you want to display on your list. It acts as a bridge between the view and the list. So now we are going to create our custom adapter. Let's call it fact adapter. So we're going to be extending an array adapter and passing our data model as the type for the adapter. So the array adapter requires parameters. So we are going to be needing only a context and the list. We're going to be overriding the getView method, which is a method from the array adapter that will help us to render our item layout. But before that, let's create our item layout. Let's call our item layout facts item. So in the item layout, we're going to be having let's use a card view as our parent view group. Then we're going to be using a constraint layout. We're going to set the height of the card view as wrap content so that each item can have a space. If not, one item is going to fill the whole screen and you won't be able to see the others. So first we'll be adding image view for the logo. Let's give this image view a height of 200 dp and a width of 200 dp and a height of 200 dp. Then we're going to give it an ID of image logo. Then we're going to set the constraint of the image, top to top of parent. That is, the top should be at the top of the parent. Then next constraint is going to be start to start of parent. The next constraint is going to be end to end of parent. This is going to make the image be centered on the, it's going to be centered in the constraint layout. So next, we add our detail view. That's going to be a text view. Let's make the width 0 dp. Start to start of parent. Top to bottom of the image. End to end of parent. That gives a padding of 16 dp. Okay, so now that we have our items layout, let's go back and complete our adapter. Okay, let's give this an ID of name. So first of all, let's render our item layout. Then we make sure the view is rendered only once. If view is equals null, then view equals layout inflator dot from parent dot context dot inflate r dot layout dot fact item parent false. Then next we get the ID of the view, the widget on the item layout. var logo is equals view dot find view by ID, image view, r dot id dot image logo, var name equals view dot find view by id, test view r dot id dot name. So let's get each item on the adapter. Var fact is equals get item position. Then we have to return view. So here we are trying to make a safe call. Since the view is nullable, we're trying to make sure that we are making a safe call and there's not going to be a null pointer exception, which will definitely crash the app. So using this operator ensures that this only executes when it's not null. Then here, this is a very, I would say, dangerous operator to use. It's called a non-assertion operator. You should only use it when you are sure that that variable is not null. So next, let's set up our logo and our name. Logo should be equals to logo dot set image resource fact dot logo. Okay, so what we should do here is this fact dot logo dot let then fact dot name dot test equals fact dot name. Okay, think that's about that for now. Okay, so next let's set up this adapter with the ListView in the main activity. Since we are making use of view binding, we have to set up our view binding. Var binding binding equals activity main binding dot inflate layout inflator. Let's make this a var. Then instead of setting content view to the layout, we set it to the root of the binding. So let's make sure that this binding is set to null when the view activity is destroyed. So now let's set up our list view. So here we can say binding dot fact ListView dot adapter. Okay, first let's call our adapter var adapter fact adapter. Fact adapter equals null. Then you can say adapter equals fact adapter. We pass in this as a context, and then we'll pass in our dummy data dot fun facts. This is dummy data dot fun fact. Remember the list we created here? Yeah, so this is the list we created. That's what we just called. Then we set the list adapter to this adapter, and we call the setup adapter here in the onCreate activity. So I think we are done setting up the list view. So let's run it now and see if everything is set up. Okay, so this is our list of 5 programming languages. So next, let's work on a detailed view so that when we click on each item, it takes us to another screen and then shows the fun fact about that programming language. So to do that, we're going to be creating a detail activity. Empty activity. We're going to call it detail activity. Click on finish. So let's quickly set up our binding. So what you should know about this view binding is once you enable it in the Gradle, then and you want to call any of the bindings for any layouts in an activity, you can just call the name backwards with binding from it. It's your files get generated. This file gets generated once you enable binding in the Gradle. So once you enable it, for example, our activity underscore detail.xml, it will change. Your binding will become activity detail. Oh, sorry, my mistake. Activity detail binding. We have activity underscore detail.xml. Your binding becomes activity detail binding. This is generated because you already have view binding enabled in your Gradle. So next, we set it up here. Binding equals dot inflate layout inflator. Then I say binding dot root. And of course, we call our onDestroy method. Make sure the view is cleared once the activity is destroyed. Okay, so next let's set up our layout. So we are going to be having an image. Can call it ID logo image view 200 dp 200 dp. Then we have to set the constraint top to top of parent, end to end of parent, start to start of parent. Then of course give it a padding 16 dp. Then next we're going to have a test view. Give it an ID. We set the constraints top to top of the image, start to start of parent, end to end of parent. So next, this is the image view and this is the test view. Okay, the test view is okay, top to bottom. Sorry, top to bottom of the image. Okay, so next, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making use of an intent. What is an intent? An intent is simply like showing out just an intention of doing something. So an intent is used to do so many things on Android. Which one of them is opening a new activity? So for this detailed view, we are going to be opening a new activity using an intent. Since our adapter is the bridge between our list view and our item layout, we are going to be performing this intent in the fact adapter. So we're going to be calling on click listener on the view. All views, all available views on Android has an on-click listener, which listens to when it is being clicked and goes ahead to do whatever you set up for it to do. So here we call view dot set on click listener. Of course, we have to use the self call. So what we're going to do here is create an intent. So this intent is going to have a context, parent dot context, and then the detail activity. So next we are going to be passing the items, the information. We're going to be passing it over to from the main activity over to the detail activity using what we call extras. So intent has extras where you can pass different kinds of data, string, integer, and the rest, boolean, all kinds of data provided for you to be able to pass them safely from one intent to the other. But to do this, we have to first of all create our key. Since we're going to be passing 3 different items, we have to create 3 keys to identify each of these items. And we're going to be creating it with a companion object. This component object is just like static in Java. So you don't need to initialize whatever class where it is created. You just have to call it as a static variable. Next, this is for the name. Next is for the fact. So now we're going to be using each of these strings as a key to identify the data we want to pass from the main activity, from the list to the detail activity when we click on each of them. So now we're going to put this data into the intent. Intent.put extra, logo extras, fact dot logo, intent dot put extra, name extra, fact dot name, intent dot put extra, fact extra, fact dot fact. So we are going to be passing these 3 items over to the detail activity. So now we go into the detail. Okay, then we have to start the intent. So start the intent, you have to use the context dot start activity intent. So now we go over to the detail activity. As usual, we create a method to set up fact detail. So here, okay, first let's get those extras. Since we are going to be expecting an extra in the detail activity, we already created an extra in the adapter and the detail activity is expecting that extra because we put that extra into the intent that is opening up the detail activity. So here we have to receive them. We create a variable for each of them. The logo is going to be an integer. The name is going to be a string. And the detail is going to be a string. So right here in the onCreate, we get those extra. Logo is equals intent dot extra. Intent dot get int extra because a logo is an integer, so you have to get an integer extra. It accepts a key, so that key is going to be the logo extra, and we're going to be giving it a default value. Oh, okay, we required it. Okay, it doesn't accept a nullable integer. So what we're going to do is this. Int dot okay. Okay, so I have to remove the save call. That's not required. Okay, so next, name. The name is a string, so you have to get a string extra. Name extra. Okay. Okay, let's make it nullable. So next, the detail. Intent dot get string extra. Fact dot adapter dot fact extra. So these are the key that we used in passing passing the intent from the adapter. So to get back the intent, you have to use that key to call the particular value that we want. So now, since we have all set up the different items, first let's call the setup fact detail here so we don't forget it. So now we can say binding dot detail dot text equals to detail, binding dot logo dot set image resource logo. Then we can say title, that is the toolbar title, equals name. I think that should be all. So let's run and see the result of what we just did. Okay, this is the item. When you click on each one, click on Kotlin, it displays, it goes into the next detail activity, displays the email, the logo, the fun facts, and then the name on the toolbar. When you go back, you scroll up, you can select anyone, select Python. It displays the logo with the fun facts and then the title. So with this, this is the end of this video. I hope you enjoy the video.